everybody, welcome back. Ricky from Connerty Meadows Farm. So we have a few things on the agenda that we're hoping to do in the next little while. Springtime's usually really busy, and we always have a really big to-do list. So let's get started on my first thing on the list. Last fall I had made the garlic bed down there, and a couple weeks ago I cut all of these logs. They were already down in the woods, a lot of them was just scrap, so I just kind of cut them up. They were small logs left over from when we did our garden beds. So we dragged them up with the quad. I cut down all these logs out of the bush down there. It was a lot of dead cedar, and we're dragging them over to where I'm going to be making the new flower beds and garlic beds. And we've placed them here. And so the plan is for in front of the chicken coops here, we're going to have some flower beds just to add some beauty. And it just will dress the fencing up a little bit and make it look nicer from the road, so that the chicken coops just aren't overwhelmingly screaming, oh look, there's chicken coops here. This is going to be a duplicate chicken coop of this one right here. But at this current time, with the price of lumber, we've opted to just leave we tarped the floor up, and we're just going to leave it until lumber either becomes a little more affordable or we save up a little bit more. We just won't push to get that chicken coop done, which is kind of sad, but the reality is prices have significantly gone up. All right, so the first thing I'm going to have to do with these garden beds is I have some, hello Sylvester, hello buddy, hello, yes, you saying hi to everybody? I do have some comfrey in these beds and a few other flowers. I'm going to dig them up so that then we can dig the grass up from in where the beds are going to go, and then we'll lay a layer of cardboard down, and then we'll put the dirt down, and so that nothing will come up through these beds, and we'll have nice clean beds. Here's where we're at. The first thing I did was I took the shovel, nice round mouth shovel, and I actually skimmed off the top layer of grass. It's not necessary, but I like to do that. So basically you just go underneath and take that top layer right there off. I usually just throw this in the chicken run for the chickens. So then the whole bed just looked like that. Then I laid down some cardboard. We'd been saving cardboard all winter long, so knowing that I was going to be doing this kind of stuff. We laid down the cardboard. I measured out what logs I wanted in what places, and now I just have to hammer them all in. So this is just like roughly laying out of kind of how I want it to go. So yeah, I just have to hammer it all in. So my corners are done like this, so like the opposite. So this post here is a big long one, that's a short one, but the other big long one is on the inside here, and then on this side, and then it's the opposite. So then the really long one is on the top, shorter one here, and then that's the really long one. The corners doing them like this just gives it a little more strength. When we did the raised beds, we did a different kind of corner. It all depends on how much you're putting in them. I also put supports partway through, just because these logs here are really long, and I wanted to make sure that there was strength through the whole bed. So I have supports in the middle here and supports in the middle here, which will give it basically 3 beds. And I kind of went with the supports where the T-posts were, so we'll have like one bed there, and one bed there. All right, so I just gotta hammer everything in. These are pretty big spikes going in, so takes a little bit of muscle, so I call in the big muscle sometimes. Just securing the two sides together. Well, it's getting dark out, so I think for tonight, that's where we're at. I think tomorrow we'll probably work on that bed a bit. I've kind of got things planned out where I want them, but I'm gonna have to put some compost in the bottom and wait for our soil to arrive so that I can finish getting these guys all planted in. But I think it'll look, definitely dresses it up. The next stage in building the garden beds is we get to use something on the farm that would normally be thrown out or recycled or whatever else people do with their used grain bags. But we are going to take our grain bags and open them up, and then we will be lining the inside with our boxes. What that does is that helps keep the soil in each of the boxes, and it'll also give a little bit of a barrier as well as the cardboard underneath to make sure that the weeds don't come through. So since I'm in the process of taking off the bottom of all these grain bags, I thought we would just do a demonstration on how to open grain bags. They can be quite fun to open sometimes. So there's a knot on the end and there's two sides. And if you get the wrong side of the two, one will open and one won't. And I can never remember which side's which, so I usually end up trying both sides and seeing which one works. So basically what you're looking for is you look at the knot, and if it looks like when you pull the other side it's gonna knot up, then that is probably not the correct side. So this one I could get to come undone, but I would literally have to keep pulling apart the two sides so I can get it to come undone. But if I'm not careful, I'm just gonna pull it into a big knot. All right, so let's see if this one's the right side. So you do have to start by unwinding one knot from the bunch. And then if it comes apart, you know you've got the right side. And that is what it takes. It's just like steam ripping, only way easier. Done. And now I can open the bag up. I like to start on the end. So after we've taken the string off at the bottom, I kind of like to start partway through. And this step is requiring a staple gun. And I'm going to staple this. Now, it's when you get to the corners that this gets a little bit trickier. So I like to tuck it in, and then you kind of fold the bottom like that. Let's try to go around our corner a little bit here. And there isn't really any right way to do this. This is just what I find works for me. And then I'm going to come back to the inside and do this. And this big chunk here. And then I'm just going to keep going down this whole side and the inside. Let's keep going. So this bag is just going to come in here. I'm just going to overlap on here just a little bit. And then we're just going to keep going. So this will help protect the wood a little bit. But the other thing this is going to do is it's going to keep my dirt where it belongs in my beds. And just like that. Some of the scraps from what we were cutting, I sometimes just leave them in because we need to fill it in anyway. All right, let's move on to the next corner. I'm just gonna go finish around the corner here with this one. Overlap. So you're basically gonna go the same as you normally would down to the corner. And then you gotta do some tucking, almost like you would a Christmas present. There's a lot of just tucking and playing with it. Like, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just to hold dirt. Now, this is where you kind of gotta maneuver a bit. I'm gonna put a staple over here, and that'll kind of hold it in place. And you gotta do some fancy folding here. And then, so you can see how I've kind of folded it almost like a fan here. And that is what the corner should look like. I want my corners to be overlapped. This barrier of grain bags on top of the cardboard also helps suppress bleeds. Eventually this grain bag will break down, but until that point it has killed off any weeds trying to come up, and I'm out of staples. So this last bag, obviously, there's going to be a lot more overlap on it than some of the other bags. That's okay. All right, and that looks like a done bed for now. Here we are. Here is a bed done, and it will be ready to be filled with soil. Now we just have a few more left to do. No big deal. But it's a great way to repurpose a lot of things. The deadwood from the forest is the cedars. The grain bags are repurposed. We will be filling the bottom of the beds with our own poop from the farm, and then, you know, the first top about that much maybe will be of soil that we've brought in, but there's one bed. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest. Last little while I have been working on prettying up this area. So I have built some garden beds here. As you can see, I've already got some pots here with plants in them that I'm getting ready. Our soil is supposed to be delivered on the 4th. So only a few more days and I will have all of those filled. We still have one bed left at the end there to put up, but we aren't really pushing to do that at this moment. that's a pretty good amount of work. Here on the end, this is a hop, and then we've got some chamomile in here. I will be planting some sunflowers and some cosmos and so a whole bunch of other flowers in through here. And then we have our comfrey and some more chamomile, comfrey, plantain, chamomile, comfrey, and again we'll put in a whole bunch of other little flowers for here. And comfrey and chamomile and some other pretty flowers, and again I plan to put a whole bunch in there. And then this bed, we have sticks. I'm kidding, it's actually blackberries. So we have a tiny little cute flower here in the bottom, and then this whole 3 beds here are all the blackberries, and we're gonna go ahead. I will intermingle some flowers in with this year, and then of course we'll be putting straw down on all of these beds to keep the weeds down, but I think it looks pretty good. It'll be really pretty once it all comes up and there's lots of flowers going. Right now the chicken coop is a mud pit. Welcome to spring. It's getting dark, but I still wanted to show you guys these beds finished up. So we put straw to mulch them down. That'll help keep moisture in, but it also will help keep weeds at bay. So that is how we make our flower beds. So there they are, fully done. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time.